Two proven, accomplished veteran receivers. One offense. One football. That's usually a recipe for tension, ego, and a battle over targets. But Terry McLaurin just described his relationship with Stefon Diggs using a meme that perfectly captures what's actually happening in that Washington receiving room. Stick around, because this dynamic is way more interesting than a simple competition. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're breaking down Terry McLaurin's honest comments about sharing the field with new teammate Stefon Diggs, and why this pairing might turn into one of Washington's biggest strengths this season. Let's get into it. The Washington Commanders created a genuinely intriguing dynamic when they placed Stefon Diggs alongside Terry McLaurin in their receiving core. On paper, that's two accomplished veterans now sharing one offense, which naturally raises questions about competition for targets, touches, and recognition. But here's the thing, McLaurin doesn't seem threatened by this arrangement at all. If anything, he views Diggs as someone who's going to push him to become an even better version of himself. During an appearance on the Commanders' Next Man Up, McLaurin gave a genuinely colorful description of how his early relationship with Diggs has developed. The similarities between the two apparently became obvious almost immediately once they started working together on the field. "I kind of think of that Spider-Man meme where they're both pointing at each other," McLaurin said. "We're the same guy on the field." McLaurin went on to explain that both receivers bring a similar level of passion, leadership, and raw energy to the offense. Neither one of these guys has built a career by quietly blending into the background, and that shared intensity is exactly what's created this instant connection between them. Let's look at the resumes here, because they're genuinely comparable. Diggs has earned 4 Pro Bowl selections and 1 first-team All-Pro honor throughout his career. McLaurin, meanwhile, has made 2 Pro Bowls himself, all while consistently producing despite Washington's constant revolving door at the quarterback position over the years. Now, putting two personalities like that together could have easily created friction or a struggle over status within the locker room. But McLaurin has framed this situation completely differently. Instead of seeing Diggs as competition to be wary of, he sees him as a genuine standard to measure himself against. Having a guy who's like-minded like that, who's played at the highest level, who's been All-Pro, Pro Bowl, and played in the biggest situations, that helps me to measure myself up to where I am in my game, McLaurin said. "I'm an elite player as well." That last line wasn't an accident. McLaurin clearly respects everything Diggs has accomplished throughout his career, but he's not handing over his spot at the top of Washington's receiving hierarchy without a fight either. McLaurin also openly acknowledged that the two veterans are actively competing with each other during practice. But their competition isn't about ego or petty rivalry. It's centered entirely on the small technical details that separate productive receivers from truly elite ones. "We're constantly pushing each other," McLaurin said. "Who can be more open? Who's finishing down the field?" Interestingly, Diggs has already helped McLaurin identify specific areas of his own game that still need refinement. McLaurin specifically pointed to finishing routes strong after initially beating a defender, rather than easing off once separation is created. That's the kind of granular, detail-oriented feedback that only comes from another player who's operated at an elite level himself. And this competitive push isn't just limited to Washington's 2 biggest names either. McLaurin explained that Diggs' arrival has genuinely raised both the floor and the ceiling of the entire receiving core, a group already filled with players fighting hard for meaningful roles. McLaurin didn't hold back his optimism about where this unit is headed either. "I think we're going to be one of the stronger groups on the team this year," McLaurin said. "I genuinely do, because we've got a great sense of depth, but we've got a lot of high-end talent as well. Of course, targets will still need to be divided once real games start, and both of these veterans clearly want the football. Neither one reached this stage of their career by being satisfied with a quiet, decorative role in the offense. That reality could create some genuinely interesting moments once opportunities become scarcer during actual competitive games." But for now, McLaurin sees Diggs less as a rival standing in his way, and more as a mirror pushing him toward greater consistency and excellence. Washington is essentially betting that two receivers who are each used to leading their own rooms can elevate each other without turning this into a distracting, ongoing soap opera. So what's your take? Does this pairing genuinely elevate Washington's offense? Or does the target competition eventually create real friction once the games start counting? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button. Subscribe for more Commanders and NFL coverage all season long, and I'll see you in the next video.